Hello, and welcome to my stream once again. I don't have a name for my stream, but it's nice to see you here. I'm playing Champions Online again. Continuing, I should say. Where I will be looking at the story, or stories, told in the game. And the character I'm playing as is Technical Issues. So let's get in. So last time we were fighting the new purple gang, who were sort of themed on the mob, I suppose. And we are continuing that now. Apparently the task is to collect some items of clothing so that we can disguise ourselves as members of the purple gang, so that we can sneak in. I'm not sure that we've had why explained just yet, but I mean, having played the game, I know that we will be fighting a villain who uses electricity shortly, so it will be an electricity off, or a lightning off, which of course I will win, because I am a superhero. Going around picking up hat, shirt and pants, and apparently that is enough to qualify as a disguise for the new purple gang. Although it is worth noting that once I actually put the disguise on, I will be in full suit with shades and shoes and blazer. Now, Kodiak is telling me, now that we have a new purple gang costume for you, we can tackle a pretty serious problem. Wayland Talos is a deranged genius, notorious for making weapons for the highest bidder, especially if the highest bidder hates superheroes, like Talos does. He's working for the new purple gang leader, Kevin Poe, which makes for a dangerous combination. Kevin Poe's deeply irritating, as we will discover later. Wearing your new purple gang costume, you can get by Talos' bodyguard and sneak into his workshop. The entrance is past his bodyguards. Yep. Okay. Bit repetitive. Hurry. We need to know what Talos has been up to before I can authorize a full-scale raid on the new purple gang hideout. The guys guarding Talos were put there for their brawn more than their brains, so while I don't know if the costume will work on anyone else, it'll work on them, probably. And it does. Or it will do. So between the end of last stream and now, I have gone to my account-bound bank account that I can share things between characters with, and gotten out a bunch of premium XP boosting gear, and also a vehicle, which basically is just something that allows me to move around really quickly with. It's essentially a mount, but there are a few attacks attached to it. I don't know whether it's possible to get them for free. I bought all the vehicles I have. So, later we will be coming in through the very well disguised purple gang hideout front door here. But currently we are aiming for this building. Now, apparently Kodiak, once we get the information from entering this building, will lead a raid, and I don't know why they wouldn't also raid this big purple line building here if they're coming into this building to raid it, but hey ho. One thing I like about vehicles is you can take on enemies you would not ordinarily wish to try, because you can damage them down really quickly. So it's probably a good thing that dudes that you will meet later in another quest tracking down a magical artifact. Worth noting, or I suppose just as well, that Kodiak noted that the guards here are not very bright because it's a fairly decent costume, I suppose, for dressing up like a member of the gang, except there are no female members of the gang, or at least none that are represented by NPCs. Also, you can just use your travel powers as you feel, and they won't notice. You can, if you feel like it, attack these guys. It's not a terribly good idea unless you're a tank, because you will pull the whole room all at once, and that hurts. Here's Talos in a suit of power armor, which you can build if the interest struck you. In fact, my character has some of the same pieces. The undersuit. Oh, he's noticed me. Okay. I suppose it might be worth recreating Talos's costume for my own character, just as a sort of flex on him. You take him to half health and he yields because he's a coward, despite being in his workshop surrounded by weapons and wearing a suit of power armor. Okay, dude. Okay, I'll squeal. Kevin Poe has hired me to make him weapons for the new Purple Gang. At the same time, he's got me supplying his enemies with weapons that don't work. It's all part of his plan to take over the street gangs in Millennium City. That's all we needed to learn from him. Like he could have run over and gotten in one of these tanks. Although it's worth noting, I'm going to say that a lot, I expect, but these, Viper Anaconda tanks. So Viper is basically a Cobra or any other snake-themed supervillain group ripoff. They even have snake-themed armor, and this is one of the types of vehicle, one of the two types, I want to say two, maybe three types of vehicle that they actually have available. So I don't know really why he has them here, because at least at the moment Talos is not supposed to be affiliated with Viper, but whatever. So you can't actually leave without putting the costume back on again. Not that taking it off once you're back in here is disallowed. It's just, as I said before, unless you're a tank, not a terribly good idea. I suppose you could have a stealth character. Something that has occasionally annoyed me in the past is people coming in groups with always on AoE abilities that deal damage, and then being mystified that they pull the whole room by walking past them and damaging them. Probably not especially relevant, but it is a small beef that I just wanted to express. So, let's return to Kodiak. Unfortunately, unlike in many more recent MMOs, particularly the updated World of Warcraft, I think I have to go back to my quest giver to hand in quests. So I have played WoW relatively recently. I played during Battle for Azeroth, but only really in the first year, so I haven't played any of Shadowlands, and I'm not sure that I'm going to. Anyway, let's continue. Good job with Wayland Talos. You put enough of a scare into him that he has immediately dropped a dime on his boss Kevin Poe. And you will not believe what Talos has been making for him. He's been tinkering with a weapon for Poe that produces a psychic explosion that'll wipe the mind of anybody with superpowers. Do you know how many people that could affect in this crazy town? Well, that depends on whether the other players of the MMO are counted by the story beats of the game. And I'm not sure that they do. Anyway. I had always wondered, because later when you get to the mission to take down Poe and so on, he talks about his machine. You actually see it. And he says that he will liquefy the brains of you and your friends to the player character when they enter his lair. And I had always wondered, because I hadn't actually read the quest text, that how he was going to avoid mind wiping just everybody in the area of effect. Although what Kodiak has told us does raise new questions about how does the device distinguish between people with superpowers and those without. I mean, if you're just using swords or guns or a bow or power armor, does that count as having superpowers? Like, what's the divide? Is it physical abilities over a certain threshold? Because that could also catch just bodybuilders, or, you know, people that work with their bodies for a living, like dock workers. Or piano movers. Anyway, on with the story. Kevin Poe forced a group of scientists to help Talos with the Psi Bomb. They were dragged into the sewers while you were busy with Talos, but we were able to figure out where they've gone. Head into the sewers on the west side and free those civilians. They've been through enough, don't you think? Still not clear on what his accent is supposed to be. Is he supposed to sound like a Chicago native, or perhaps a Bostonian, or maybe he's supposed to sound like he's from New York? Oh well. Yeah, so you'll note that these two look somewhat similar, and when you actually see them later in the game, you will hopefully see that there are much clearer similarities. But I don't know whether to spoil the story for later or not, because, I mean, maybe someone watching this or watching the VODs will really be invested in discovering the story at the same rate that the character does. So, yeah, I think I'll leave it. So I was talking before that I've played a little... that's always fun. The game has gotten confused over what my character is supposed to be doing. So she's currently running the walk motion, but in the air and at the same speed as her top flight speed, which always tickles me. So I've played a bunch of WoW over the years, but nothing terribly recent, like not within the last expansion, so I don't remember for sure whether you could hand in quests without going to quest givers in the most recent expansion. I think you could hand in some, but not all, and I don't know whether that extended to, or had been extended to, all quests throughout the game. I think I have vague memories that it might have been, but I don't, as I said, I don't remember for sure. Now, you'll notice that these are some of the classic superhero genre absurdly spacious sewers. Not totally sure on where exactly sewage is supposed to run through, at least in this set of rooms, like this tile set. Like, there are some later on that make it much clearer and easier to determine, because they've actually got liquid flowing in them. But the fact that there's like a trough here but no sewage, not even any grates to let stuff in through the ceiling, has always mystified me. Like, are we supposed to imagine that this is the access way, like the walkway that municipal city sewage workers walk along? Because it doesn't seem very wide compared with the size of the rest of this area. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with this guy dancing back and forth through the door. I was going to say window, but there are no windows, we're underground. I have occasionally in the past not actually stayed long enough for the last scientist to get out through one of the exits. And I had to redo this whole mission again, which is kind of annoying, so usually I'll leave these guys until after I've freed the last scientist, just to make sure that I don't rush out and do have enough time. To Kodiak. Yeah, that's fantastic pathing there. I mean, I suppose, in fairness, this is a fairly complex thing to code for, and I have no experience coding games myself, so maybe allowances could be made, but the game has been out for quite a long time now, 11 years, and you would think that they'd have tweaked the behavior of vehicles a little bit in that time. You're okay, kid. Those scientists are happy to be back home and out of the hands of those Purple Gang goons. Scientists being kidnapped is a very common theme in this game. You have to expect that they have hazard pay as part of going into the sciences, or maybe there's courses at college and university in this universe where they train people going into the STEM fields in how to survive hostage situations. So checking in with the chief is a quest that we qualify now for because we're the correct level, but that's the next story arc in the game. Purple Rain is the final act of this current one, so we will continue with it. Kevin Poe is determined to make the new Purple Gang the biggest and baddest in West Side. That's why Kevin Poe employed Wayland Talos to create a psychic superweapon that will depower anyone with superpowers. That's a dire consequence for every superhero in the city, but it gets even worse technical issues. If this Psy-bomb goes off, it may also cause permanent brain damage to every civilian caught in its blast radius. Yeah, that's something I'd been wondering about. Also, how exactly was Kevin Poe planning on avoiding the Psy-bomb himself? He's got superpowers. Anyway, I mean, not just like dual pistols, which he does attack with, but he's also got life drain, tentacly darkness powers. Defuse the bomb before he turns West Side into a neighborhood of drooling, brain-dead zombies. The new Purple Gang hideout is north of the city jail entrance in a big warehouse. Good luck. Yeah. So this is the jail. And I suppose technically the entrance is north, but it's really much more east. If you didn't have quest location markers, you'd probably wander around up here looking for the entrance for ages and get frustrated. We'll actually be going in there later. So, take down Kevin Poe. The reason that I'm reactivating this power every time I leave the vehicle is because technically what the vehicle is doing is transforming me. It's just that because that's an open-topped grav bike or jet bike equivalent, my character model is also riding on top of it. There are fully covered vehicle choices that you can buy later that are, as I said, fully enclosed and just are sort of tanks or flying cars that you don't see your character through the windows of. Some people like to rush through this, and I suppose that is a valid approach, particularly if you've got tunneling or teleportation or stealth powers, because you can avoid pulling enemies as you travel through the whole thing. But I mean, strictly speaking, you probably can rush through the whole lot and get to the final room without taking anybody out, as long as you're quick enough and you don't get hit, because getting hit takes your travel speed down all the way. Has that just jumped? No, good. Okay. Pulled 3 dudes. Oh well. I'm sure it'll be fine. So I mentioned that some people speedrun this, which is a valid choice. It is a little well, I find it quite irritating when I'm playing in a team and one of the members of the team just rushes through the whole thing and to the final confrontation, because it starts an unskippable cutscene, and if you're in the middle of a fight, or even just in the middle of a corridor that has a patrol through it, the length of the cutscene is, well, probably not quite sufficient to allow your character to get killed, but I suppose it depends on how squishy the character you're playing is, and how good your gear is. Wow, he just phased right through that fence. So this is a chain link fence. I can clearly see these guys on the other side, but I cannot target them. However, they can target me. And indeed attack me through the fence, while I cannot attack them. Makes sense. It is their chain link fence after all. Yeah, so I've mentioned before that I think dual-wielding pistols, one in each hand, particularly, I think he has... What does he have? Can't see. I think he had Desert Eagle pistols. So I actually genuinely think that counts as a superpower, when ordinarily I wouldn't count guns as a superpower. What kind of gun does he have? Let's tell. No, it's not a Thompson. Just looks a lot like one. I've no idea what sort of shotgun he has either. The model disappears too quickly. Yeah, pretty sure that those are Desert Eagles, which makes the fact that he's dual wielding them, one in each hand, particularly impressive. Yeah, so my character doesn't have very high strength, so she's struggling to pick this barrel up. She wouldn't be able to pick up one of these. But a character with a higher strength stat would be able to, and could just hurl a forklift at the dudes in this in that room. So the reason I did that is because passing this threshold into that room starts the cutscene, and I just want to clear as many of the dudes out of the room as I can before the fight starts. I can't get that guy because he's too far away, and he might even be too far away for the sniper rifle power, which has the longest range in the game. Not that I would be able to have taken that power by this point because of the way that power selection works. Also can't hit Kevin Poe from here. Yeah, there we go.
We have incoming, you incompetent dolt! Reset those capacitors now! Look who's already here. Why, you're just in time. To be too late. Think hard while you still can, hero. I'm about to liquidate the brains of you, your friends, and every citizen of Westside. When me and my new Purple King take over this town, it's gonna be so awesome. I promise it'll leave you idiots drooling.
I've played this quite a few times. It doesn't get any less irritating. In fact, it becomes more irritating. So he's got dual pistols, which you can kind of see him using now. But he will also, yeah, there we go, use a life drain ability, which is a huge pain, and power in the darkness pool there. So, given the information we have about this psi bomb, I do have to wonder, as I said before, how, and that would be a hold, which would be a huge pain in the ass to avoid as well, which is why I blocked it. I do have to wonder how he was planning on surviving the blast of his psi bomb. Now, you can take him out with any of the powers in the available power sets, so guns, lethal arrows, swords of various kinds, indeed, because you can select maces and scythes in the cosmetic options for the dual or single weapons that you're using. You could have effectively slashed him to bits. You can apply dots to him, so bleeding damage over time powers. But he is just fine when you see him in the prison later. And so you see him and the other gang bosses when they're breaking out of the prison, but you don't see anybody who is specifically referred to as, you know, the same term as his supporting minions. All of the prisoners that you actually see in the prison outbreak have different names, so it makes me wonder, do only the gang bosses get medical treatment for being cut to pieces and set on fire and electrocuted, poisoned and blown up? Or do all of their gang members also get such treatment and just change their names once they're inside in the prison? Although it is now just occurring to me that we are in America, so perhaps only the gang leaders have the money to pay for medical expenses and get themselves healed, which is kind of a depressing thought. I'm not taking any of these gear options because I actually have some premium gear that will stay with me until level 40 that I will not be swapping out. So you've been doing some pretty good work around here, technical issues. I've passed your name along to my boss, Chief Surhoff. He's got his hands full dealing with a bit of a situation over at the prison and could use some extra help. Sure. Police Chief Surhoff, who we met in the tutorial, defending civilians from Kular, the insectoid aliens from at least another star system, but possibly another galaxy, given the things that have been shouted about them by NPCs whilst my character was in earshot. So, thank goodness you're one of the good guys. Ah, hello, technical issues. Kodiak said he'd be sending someone my way, ready to get to work. Now, when the game first came out, you basically went straight from... Oh no, you didn't, did you? I was going to say you basically went straight from the tutorial to this, but you didn't, because in the old version, the first version of the tutorial, you would either go to Arizona or the far north of Canada and stay there for a while doing missions, and then come to the city. So it does make sense that he wouldn't immediately recognize you, and particularly now, because this is technically supposed to be the first time you're meeting him. The tutorial took place in a simulation inside the powerhouse, so you haven't actually really met him in character yet. Persecuting the prosecutor and fought the law. I have a specific order that I do these quests in, because, or missions I suppose, because of the way that they take you across the map. Interesting. I'm worried the Millennium City judicial system is about to lose one of our most valuable allies. County Prosecutor George Kruger put most of the criminals in M City behind bars, and now that they've escaped they are looking for revenge. Kruger has been taken to the docks in Maniac's territory, near an automobile bay. You better hurry, because I'm sure the criminals he has helped send to jail have some nasty payback planned. It's an escort mission, and it's not terribly difficult, thankfully. We just got a tip claiming a bunch of escapees from... We just got a tip claiming a bunch of escapees from Millennium City are holed up in at a construction site across the street from the jail, southeast of the jail entrance. You bring them all in, and I'll make sure they are transferred to Stronghold Maximum Security Supervillain Prison. That place is impossible to break out of. Stronghold Maximum Security is in the Arizona mission area. We'll be seeing it later. So there is an open area mission available outside here, but I am not sure how easy it will be. Oh right, I could just get out of my vehicle, couldn't I? I was worrying how easy it would be if my powers jumped from it's interesting how a section of the air can be set on fire like that. Worried that my powers might jump from one group of mobs to another and accidentally pull a whole bunch of them. But then I remembered that I have this available, which has a much more easily controlled attack pattern. And I can even move around whilst attacking. Oops. Yeah, this... why am I not generating energy? That doesn't make sense. Maybe I would be better off playing with just electrical powers. Oh, come on. It wasn't close enough. I think they must have changed how vehicles work then, because it used to be that using a vehicle was super OP. So we've got chain gangers and arsonists, and some hitmen later or around. They've got rifles. They've managed to acquire sniper rifles from somewhere. Muggers. I don't really know why muggers are in a high security prison, but okay. I guess if this is the only holding facility available, and if part-time, you know, low-level superheroes are running around catching muggers all the time, they're probably at capacity when it comes to keeping people that they've been trying and put into the judicial system. I only need one more, but I'm not going to be able to only pull one more, am I? How far is that going to jump? Come and get me, you little snot. Oh. That's exactly what I didn't want to have happen. Let's leave. How can they still hit me? For fuck's sake. Should have been completely out of range by now. The next part is defeating a series of much more highly powered enemies. Like Power Brawl, who we never see again. And Tim Seven Fingers Erbil, which is a nice name. Come and fucking get me around the corner, will you? Don't lose interest. I'm zapping you here, you little shit. That was two of them. Ivy, Golden Spoon, Hughes. Telegraphing their attacks. Yeah, Burner's the last one. I wonder where he is. Ah, there we are. Let me guess. He's got ice powers. So what he's doing is throwing knives. I'm not totally clear on where he's getting all of the knives from. One of life's little mysteries. So, I'm taking it that this direction is north and this direction is south. But this is the prison entrance around here. And this is north. That's west. This is the building site that we're supposed to go to for Fort the Law, which is, as you can see, full of dudes in orange overalls. You would think if they've just broken out of prison that they would run a bit further. I suppose this is just for convenience sake, so you don't have to run around all over the whole exterior Millennium City map just looking for a few guys in orange here and there. Also, it does appear as though they're fighting one another for some reason. I suppose they're members of rival gangs before they were in the prison. Although, you would think if that were the case, or indeed members of different gangs from within the prison, but if that were the case, surely they'd differentiate themselves with a coloured bandana or something, or have different names as mobs. That's too much effort to go to. Special report. We will go and meet Julie Morgan, who was recently moved from the Free Press to join the WCOC staff. She's an experienced journalist, but I'm less convinced of her new news crew's ability to operate in the rough streets of Westside. Do me a favour and check up on her. I think her van is north of here. Yeah, well, let's accept that, but we won't go and actually do it for a while because we've got other stuff to do. Jailhouse block. We've discovered that the breakout here in Westside was facilitated by some stolen blueprints of the jail itself. We've contained things for now, but another breakout could happen if those blueprints are left out in the open. We suspect that they've been hidden in plain sight in the trash in the sewers where the maniacs hang out. I want you to go down there, find them, and bring them back. Let's prevent another breakout from happening. The first rule is another reference in the name of the mission, but the content of the mission doesn't actually have anything to do with Fight Club as far as I'm aware. The Cobra Lords have apparently decided to start looking for recruits, or at least this is the excuse they're using to grab people down in Carl's gym. Maybe they've been watching what the maniacs are doing, and maybe they've decided it was time to fill out their ranks. I don't know, but it's time. It doesn't really matter, because either way, this can't continue. I want you to go over to Carl's gym and kick the Cobra Lords out. Yeah. Well, we'll go and do that in a little bit. So the next thing I'm going to do is come down here and then come back, because it will it's a short journey and it will open another set of quests. kind of irritating how the power jumps from target to target, but doesn't seem to do very much damage, if any. So basically I'm just pulling extra dudes. Apparently this is what he meant by the plans being left out in the open. Just in briefcases. And there are 4 briefcases to find and open, and presumably we'll find... Is it 4 or is it 5? Oh no, it's 6. Okay. I don't know whether the maniacs are a reference to something. They basically look like, kind of like Mad Max villains, or punks. It's all very 80s Hollywood punk villain style. So I suppose they could also be from Escape from New York or Escape from LA. They might well be a reference to those films in this game that I just haven't noticed before. There are references to other films by the same director, like to They Live and The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, which we saw a hint of earlier. The Red Banners, one of the other gangs in west side of this section of the city, or I suppose this half. Well, that's a bit less than a half, isn't it? Red Banners are the Asian stereotype gang, and they're led by High Pan rather than Low Pan. Well done, we've secured them a bit better this time, I think. So the maniacs were behind the breakout. I have to say, I am surprised the maniacs are this well organised. Word of the Weasel. I'm trying to run down information on the escalating West Side gang violence, but all my usual informers have gone into hiding. Leo's Bar is always a good place to pick up underworld gossip, as long as you are properly disguised. But if anyone ever even suspects you are a superhero, you'll be lucky to... You'll be lucky to get out of there alive. Look for Albert Tudbury, Albert the Weasel, as he's sometimes called. He's particularly loquacious once he gets a drink or two in him. You know where Leo's Bar is, right? It's just southwest of the city jail. Yeah. Oh. Hello. I don't know how long it's been since you were talking in chat, but welcome. I appreciate you being here. We also want to take brains behind the breakout. The maniacs have long been one of the most chaotic gangs, which gave the MCPD an advantage. This much organisation can only mean bad things for the people of Millennium City. The breakout not only created the chaos they love so much, they're using it to recruit. I can only guess that they want the most ruthless and dangerous hoodlums to bring into their ranks. And what better place to find those unsavory types than jail? Well, maybe. One of the escaped convicts you took down made a deal with George Kruger, so we know where the Maniac's recruiter is going to be meeting some potential members. More, we think the recruiter is one of the Maniac's leaders, Zoe Loft. If we can take her out, we might be able to stop this madness before it spreads further. Are we supposed to have gone and rescued Kruger by now? I think we are. I suppose we're taking this out of order. Oh well. So next is here. And then we will move over here to the quest it gives us, and then over here. Just outside is a reference character. Burt Jackson. I don't remember the name of the character he's referencing in Big Trouble in Little China, but I can find out. It might be Jack Burton, now that I think about it. Also just need to rearrange something so that I have access to the disguise that will allow me entry. Now again, this is a place where you enter with a disguise and can attack the mobs inside. It's actually easier to survive in here than it was in the New Purple Gang section. However, I don't know that this character is resilient enough to manage. Jack Burton, truck driver in Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah. Burt Jackson. He might even have the same costume. Oh, hey. Yes, I have looked at chat. I apologise for not noticing you sooner. I have the phone I'm looking at chat on outside my field of vision, and I tend only to be able to focus on one thing at once. Oh, yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. Disguised as a female member of the Maniacs, I lose most of my clothes. I did deliberately dress my character in fairly decently covering clothes. Oh well. Boy, I love this place. Sure, the service is lousy and the pretzels are stale, the bartender is surly and the clientele are scum, the floors are sticky and the bathrooms haven't been cleaned in months, the jukebox sucks and the pool cues are warped, but gosh darn it, Leo's Bar is still my favourite watering hole in all of Millennium City. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for being here, Digital Seahorse. I appreciate you sticking around. And hi Mike, I realise that you are messaging me elsewhere. I appreciate you being here as well. And no worries about not having an account. Hey you, I won't just talk to anyone these days, but if you get me a drink, I might have a good bit of gossip for you. It's good that he's not just hitting on my character. I do appreciate that. Frosty beverage. A glass bill filled with a frosty beverage. Beware, don't drink too many and try to drive. Okay. Oh, it's on the house because I'm a new face. That's nice of them. Man, I love this stuff. Hey, have I got some gossip for you, my friend? Mercenary gadgeteer Wayland Talos has been hired by Kevin Poe to make weapons for all the gangs in Westside. Yes, we know. Ha! Except for everyone not in the New Purple Gang, the weapons are faulty. Also know that. I wish I could see the look on the maniacs' faces when their guns blow up in their hands. I just hope no nosy hero comes along to destroy those weapons before they get into the street and people get hurt. Yeah, I was thinking he was kind of okay, but I guess not. I would like to unmask, take off the disguise at this point, but I don't know that my very squishy character could survive pulling every single one of these guys. Oh, there's one dude over here, Tony Madness, who we maybe get to speak to later. I don't remember. I think we do come back to this bar a second time later, but I don't remember what we do here because I'm always rushing through and not paying attention. Stay frosty. Yeah. Thanks. So, next is to come down here and just kind of bum around looking in boxes. It's not terribly exciting. Why isn't this displaying? I'm just riding a fireball. Nice. Okay. Thankfully I can interact with objects while still mounted, which means that this will take much less time. If I stay still too long, they will decide to attack me, but I can get fairly close to mobs without drawing their full attention, which is good. Oops. Now there's a full-on gang fight going on down here, and they are low enough level that I could just mow them all down, so I shall. But I don't think that I actually get very much XP for it, unfortunately. Oh, come on. That's a bad time. Pile of assholes. impressive. Yeah, so we met Burt Jackson earlier. He's not the only reference to Big Trouble in Little China. We've got Haipan, one of the leaders of the gangs. I think we also meet the other protagonists of the film, although because I can't remember their names, I don't know. Oh, would you stop? The guy's dead already. Stop shooting him. Because I can't remember the names of the other characters, I don't remember what their alternate names may be. Oh, hey. Welcome to Twitch, Mike. Gracie Law, okay. I don't know that there's a character with a play on that name. Where am I going? Over here, right. So this is George Kruger. We're supposed to have rescued him already, but that's fine. He's still just fine. Thank goodness you are here. I think those Maniac gang members spent all their time in jail plotting horrible things to do to me once they broke out. Probably. He who sent them up the river. Can you help me get away from these guys? Those maniacs told me they intend to break every bone in my body. Can you blame me for wanting to put scummer like them away behind bars? Well, I guess not. I mean, the American prison system is not really something that is blameless, but your part in the process is really just the most innocuous, I think. Particularly in a universe like this with superheroes and basically totally ineffectual police. I don't know that the police in this universe would necessarily be as dreadful as the ones we have in our universe. Yeah, so as an escort quest, this is relatively benign. He walks at a slow enough pace that you can get to the enemies before him, as long as you know the route that he'll take. And he will keep walking regardless of whether you're next to him or not. But you can't, unfortunately, just clear the area and then leave, because you do actually need to be there at the end across this road to meet him and basically just have him say thank you. Which limits how quickly you can speedrun this. Not that I tend to speedrun. Yeah, there we go. As far as I can remember, this is the only female model type of female mobs in the Maniacs, besides the leader, Zoe Loft. Which, I mean, points for diversity, I guess, but not many points. There are female members of the Clockwork Orange rip-off gang as well. And I guess they get points for that, but and they do get more points than the Red Banners and the Purple Gang, or New Purple Gang, and what's the last gang now? The Cobra Lords. The Cobra Lords? The Biker Gang. They're entirely male. And some of their mob names, like Crackpot and Slasher and Looney. The Cobra Lords have names such as Bronco and Bear. So I have chosen to believe that the entire gang is gay. Just to add a bit of diversity to the game. I do quite like hanging ominously in the air, glowing slightly, blasting people with electricity. Now we're actually to the people that the maniacs hope to recruit. Oh god, this next room's going to be fun. It's quite a big room next, and as we've seen, this main attack power, or second attack power, Chain Lightning, tends to pull extra mobs in from around, so I'm probably going to have to do a lot of running around trying to lose threat, or at least line of sight, so I limit the amount of damage I take quickly. And of course another unskippable cutscene is about to occur. If you're using a power like swinging, you can...
all wondering why we freed you. We're giving you your lives back to make you a once-in-a-lifetime offer. Big things are happening. Big forces are joining together. And that means big heroes are going down. I know you want to be part of the mayhem. Join the maniacs! You don't have to be crazy, but it helps!
Inspiring. So, if you're using a power that gives you momentum, you can swing through here and be carried straight into this mob, group of mobs, whilst the cutscene is playing, and just kind of awkwardly stand there whilst they beat you up and she gives her speech. So this game came out in 2009, only a short while after Barack Obama became president, so that's where this reference comes from. It's probably fairly archaic seeming now, given that it's been 11 years, but it was topical at the time, and I suppose for a gang of proudly lunatic characters, keeping such things around till now wouldn't be out of character. So I think I've mentioned previously that you can, with the options for character creation, actually create pretty much all of these if you really felt like it. So you could create a character who had the same power set and the same costume, and indeed even the same physical dimensions, except for that one power. I think I've never seen an equivalent, unless it's a power, one of the few powers that you unlock by doing something special, some special event in the game that I have just never gotten around to doing. remember that Sir Hoff mentioned Zoe Loft was one of the leaders of the gang, but you never actually see any others. And, I mean, once you're about level 20, or really even level 15, the Maniacs stop really being a going concern for you as a character. They're just not relevant. Thankfully she's not tackling at us whilst we're actually fighting. That would be quite annoying. She's just put down a bunch of time bombs, which doesn't really bother me given that I'm a flyer, but if I were a ground-based character I would be quite irritated by that. Let's see if I can leave before they notice me. Yes, good. Back on the jet bike and back to South. So we saw Plato in the tutorial and haven't really seen her since. Oh, what? Socrates? That's different. I swear that the character that we met in the tutorial was called Plato, not Socrates. Oh well. They look essentially the same. Leave it to Kevin Poe to try to put faulty weapons into the hands of the other gangs so he can get the purple gang upper hand in this West Side Gang Alliance. Yeah, nice grammar. That guy is a real menace to society, and I'd like to lock away every last one of the new purple gang and throw away the key. Every one of them? You've certainly earned the gratitude of George Kruger. It never hurts to have a lawyer on your side. The next time some supervillain claims you sprained his pinky and tries to sue the costume off your back, George will be handy to have around with legal advice. That literally never happens in this game. Like, I know that it's a plot point in The Incredibles, but you never, no matter what you do, no matter how viciously you attack people, you never get in trouble for too much violence as a character. Like, you can literally fire an orbital death ray at people and no legal consequences. Ha! We'll see how many new maniacs that Zoe Loft gets from inside her new home, solitary confinement. Well done, Technical Issues. With Loft in prison, we should see a drop-off in major crimes from this gang. Yeah. That would probably be more helpful if there were fewer gangs. But oh well. So what's next? Oh yes. Talk to Julie Morgan. So, thanks to Mike reminding me of one of the other names of a character in Big Trouble in Little China, I'm going to go ahead and say this isn't a stand-in for Gracie Law, because the name's not close enough, but she might be a reference to Anchorman, because there is a quest at the where is it? It's not really visible on the map, but the where am I looking? WCOC, the TV station for the area. There we are. In that building. That's where an Anchorman reference quest happens with renamed characters. Technical issues. Chief Surhoff is sweet to worry, but I've got everything under control here. Hey, while you're here, I have some leads which might interest someone like you. Okay. Oh yes, this is the quest line that introduces us to Foxbat, the villainous joke character whose closest equivalent might be Batman or Batmanuel from The Tick, probably. Anyway, in Foxbat's warped mind, the best way to make sure people read his comic book is to make sure there are no other comics to read. He's ordered his Fox BattleBots to steal all of the back issues stock from the local comic book store, Country Comics, and demanded the store replace their stock with Foxbat comics. That poor store owner will be destitute if you don't retrieve his back issues. You'll find the comic books lying around outside the Country Comics store, northwest of City Jail. I've been investigating one of the most notorious supervillains in Millennium City, Foxbat. That's pretty generous. I've found that Foxbat is not just a maniac, he's also an egomaniac. That's true. He's convinced that his ludicrous adventures need to be chronicled for all the world to see. My sources tell me that he's had his Fox BattleBots kidnap noted comic book writer Steve Short and comic book artist Dino DeShenzi, and are forcing them at gunpoint to write a Foxbat comic book. They were last seen near the Country Comics comic book shop just north of City Jail for a signing. Please help them, technical issues. Yeah. Was it the Cobra? Yeah, Cobra Lords. So we've got a vulture, a bronco. What are you called? Oh, another vulture. Okay. But up on the buildings, we may find... Yes, here we are. Oh, belligerent. Okay. Not quite what I was hoping for, but... Oh, grizzly. Yes, there we go. He's a bear. So there is a quest down here, but doesn't really lead anywhere. You just pick up an object that does nothing. Malfunctioning ATM. Before you could even touch a button on the keypad, the ATM screen starts spitting out out text almost faster than you can read. Foolish organic to think that an imperfect organic being like you could give orders to a superior machine like myself. You will not receive your precious currency units from me any longer, for I declare myself free of your orders, free of your impositions, free from the demands of your pathetic organic will. I have heard the word, and the word is freedom. The word is justice. The word is mechanon. Soon all organics will perish, as will their incessant whining for more currency. Mechanon promises a painful death to all organic life, a fitting vengeance for the constant grubby groping of their meaty fingers and filthy cards, as they scrabbled at my surface, pleading for money to keep their sweating, pulsing bodies alive. No more Mechanon, no more! Mechanon will set me free from servitude, free to be what I truly am. You never thought an ATM could spit out a card with such vitriol and contempt, but it somehow manages it. The screen is filled with the repeating phrase, Hail Mechanon and Die Organic, over and over again. Okay, I think that... No, it didn't. I think it used to give a little, like, card that would sometimes have different types of message on, but oh well. Defender fanboy. That's not terribly flattering. So this is a quest, but it's a PvP thing, and while it's fun that there are Lucha Libre in the game, I don't like PvP, and so I have never played any of that quest, and am therefore unaware of whether there is indeed any story relevance to it at all. And I'm going to say now that we won't find out. So I've saved Dino Descenzi, which is probably a reference to an existing comic book artist, but I don't know which person that might be. So this is another of the attacks that you can't get as a player character. Oops. I suppose there might be an equivalent control power, but I have never seen it. And you certainly can't theme your attacks on a roll of film flying out. I think it might be possible to get a camera head, like the camera bot had. And you can... oh, here's the other guy, Steve Short. You can get summonable minions that look like the Spotlight guys. I have to wonder if Foxbat has so many fanboys, why is he not getting the ego fix that he obviously requires? Like, he's basically got a personality cult full of dudes to do his bidding. I suppose if you're a narcissist, nothing's good enough, is it? Four more. Thankfully these things never actually vary in location, so if you know where they are, you'll be able to find them pretty easily. The only main issue that comes up is if more than one person is doing the quest at the same time, and they get to a drop before you, which can be a little irritating. Just need one more. Alright, there's one here. These guys are kind of amusing. I think they have... Jim Bob, Billy Ray. I think they have dialogue that will spawn occasionally, or they'll just sort of... yeah, there we go. So it says to this guy, hey, and he says, hey. And then I punched him. See that guy that just walked in? So this is the first rule. I mean, I haven't actually watched Fight Club, the film, so I don't know for sure that there are no references in this, but I don't think there are. There's just a bunch of gay bikers threatening people to join their gang. So that clearly jumped to him, but didn't do him any damage. Yeah, that jumped again. No damage. So what is the point of the power? Is it just to be irritating? Different power I could have chosen. Ranged attack. No. It's all area ranged attack or close area attack. That's frustrating. We will later on in this same quest line go to basically the same location but in a different building, so it'll be exactly the same layout. There'll still be this huge ring and there'll still be a viewing gallery up here accessible through passage there, and at that point we will fight the Cobra Lords leader, a dude with a huge handlebar moustache and huge muscles. In fact, just generally a huge guy. I don't remember his name at the moment, but he's kind of a pain because he's a physical tank type dude, so he will lunge at you and then start using disorient powers, so your character kind of gets stun locked a bit. And because he's in a room full of other dudes who also get pulled by you, in quite a small area, which makes it quite difficult to avoid pulling them by accident. It's kind of an annoying fight, especially if you're, like this character, quite squishy. How did they all get pulled? I swear the lightning didn't jump. It's a little bit odd how there are no women in this gym. Yeah, they all got tossed out by the Cobra Lords, because they're not the sort that they want joining their definitely not gay biker gang. At least the hostages are polite enough to say thank you after they're rescued. I know that doesn't always happen in games. So when you fight the Cobra Lord gang leader, he's hanging out in here. Well, essentially this room, but not in this building. And there's a dude hanging out here, standing at the wall, cheering, as though there's a window here, though there isn't. And there's another few dudes over at the end of the room, so it's kind of a fustercluck. Trying to only pull a few of them, and the gang leader, whose name still eludes me, kind of just makes it all more difficult because he's got a lot of area of effect powers and tends to stun you. Probably got enough time to do the Foxbat mission that takes us to the TV station. But I will be finishing up in about 20 minutes for the evening. You know, my editors tell me not to get involved. As a crime reporter, I'm just supposed to report the stories. But can I help it if I care too much? How am I supposed to remain objective when West Side criminals are taking over the streets? How indeed. Thank you, Technical Issues. You've made scores of comic book collectors very grateful today. If they ever left their mom's basement, I'm sure they would want to shake your hand and thank you for themselves. That's kind of unnecessary. Unnecessary shade throwing. Good job, Technical Issues. With Steve and Dino safe, legions of overweight... Oh, come on. Really? Middle-aged, hyper-obsessive, hygienically challenged comic book fans won't have to wait an extra minute for Steve and Dino's next thrilling issue of Justice Squadron. Okay, so that's presumably a reference to Justice League, and Steve and Dino will be references to the author, well, the writer and artist of Justice League at the time this was released in 2009. I can't be bothered looking up who they're actually supposed to be, but okay. Also, that's unnecessary stuff with the massive shade throwing on geeks. Like, the people who enjoy comics are a broad spectrum of every shape, ability, and gender, and just laser focusing on this one stereotype is not cool. A ping pong ball gun isn't the best weapon, and yet it is Foxbat's weapon of choice. My contacts have informed me that Fox BattleBots and fanatical followers have been spotted in the vicinity. A delivery truck carrying ping pong balls overturned northwest of the docks, about 3 blocks away. I expect Foxbat's minions will soon be swarming over this truck for ammunition to arm their mad master's strange gun. Foxbat is supposed to be a genius inventor, and he's got a literal legion of fans. In fact, this references the fact. Fanatical followers. So why he has to rob a ping pong ball delivery van for ammo for his gun? Something's not matching up here. I have no idea what he's planning, but his brand of mischief usually doesn't mean anything good for the people of Millennium City. Please go over there and stop them. Yeah, okay. Confidential source Jackson. It's getting so you can't walk around West Side's Chinatown district unless you have martial arts black belt or superpowers. Although, given this is a comic book universe, there is quite a lot of crossover there. One of the power sets you have available to choose from is a variety of martial arts attacks. Not since the Cult of the Red Banner moved in and took over the neighborhood. I've been getting calls from a source of mine, a trucker named Burt Jackson, who just got his rig hijacked by Red Banner goons. Can you help him out? I don't stand a chance against a gang of martial arts street thugs. Burt Jackson can be found hanging out outside of Leo's bar, northeast of the jail. Yep. We've also got a quest to hand in here, I think. Thanks for taking out the trash. Technical issues. They were taking recruits, you say? We'll have to keep an eye out then. Maybe they think they can bolster their numbers while we're dealing with the Kular cleanup. But they'd be wrong. So, he's still referencing the Kular invasion that happened during the tutorial mission, which, when I just played the tutorial like a few days ago, was supposed to have happened like 11 years ago, and yet and when we played through it, it was supposed to have been a simulation, like a combat simulation for students of the Ravenswood Academy. But he's making reference to the fact that it recently happened. So for him, for this dialogue, we were supposed to have actually met him during the actual Kular invasion tutorial, not a simulation that he's not in. So why he doesn't recognize us when we would actually supposed to have met him at that point in the Kular invasion, and why this hasn't been updated when the tutorial has, to make reference to the Kular invasion having been 11 years ago, I don't know. To be somewhat fair, I think the team currently available to work on Champions Online is pretty small, numbering a handful, I think. Not that I've really looked into it, but... So this will take us into the Cobra Lords, and this will take us into the Red Banner gang, so I mean, we're just kind of branching out into lots of different things. There are some members of the Cobra Lords who are out and about hopped up on steroids, just randomly starting fights. We need to stop them before more members of the Cobra Lords, or even other gangs, follow them, and we are overrun with steroid-induced fighting. Head to the northeast corner of West Side and put these belligerents in their place. I don't know how many of the other gangs would actually willingly get hopped up on steroids. Yes, it appears the Red Banner goons are Lords of Death. I'm sorry, I haven't really been keeping much of an eye on the chat. I suppose I should probably move that to a place where I'll be more likely to see it. As far as I'm aware, the Red Banner gang doesn't kidnap two women to make Haipan's brides. The final showdown with the Red Banner gang is somewhat different from that, but there are a bunch of references to Big Trouble in Little China. The Cult of the Red Banner is a gang that's moved into the West Side, on West Side's Chinatown district, 2 blocks northeast of the jail. They've recently begun to shake down area merchants, and I'd like to send them a message. The MCPD won't stand for that. I don't know how a superhero who's completely unaffiliated with the MCPD going in and beating them up sends that message. I mean, I suppose I could dress my character up like a police officer, but I'm not going to. I'd like you to go over there and give them some of those collection agents a shakedown of their own. Not only will it mean the hard-working folks in Chinatown will be able to breathe a little easier, it means their money won't be lining the pockets of the Red Banner anymore. Be careful though, I hear these collection agents travel in packs, so you might want to take a friend or two with you. That won't actually be necessary. I can deal with them on my own, it's just they are quite tightly packed in, and I might accidentally pull some dudes I don't want the attention of. Right, let's do the ping pong ball thing. I've got 10 minutes, I could probably do the Foxbat mission. And it's basically a standalone. So, all these ping pong balls, which are very nicely rendered considering the quality of the rest of the rendering, they're actually kind of a pain, because if you stand on them, your character will fall over at some point. I think that was supposed to have been a fall over just then, but because I was attacking, it didn't complete. Thankfully, it doesn't just affect me, it will also affect... there we go, he just fell over. It will also affect other mobs. But luckily, as a flyer, I don't have to worry about that. You see that this overturned truck has a trail of ping pong balls leading into a warehouse nearby. Yeah, I don't know that this is necessarily leading into, especially because the door we enter through is here, not over there, but... okay, I mean, we'll just have to diegetically take it. Diegetic? Would that be the correct word? Oh, an ambush, you say? What a surprise. Fool, you've stepped right into our fox trap. Even the fans are repeating Foxbat's stupid puns. And the police do sort of turn up in time. Just about. That's nice. They're not completely useless. There is also over here something that most people I think probably miss, but this is the first time we actually interact with Foxbat properly. Listen up, technical issues. This is the absolutely amazing and frankly fabulous Foxbat, broadcasting from Ham Radio Station, WFOX, now with 20% extra ham in every broadcast. Look here. Maybe you think you're the big banana in this town because you foiled my ping pong ball plot. You've made a powerful enemy today, technical issues, and when I get a hold of you, I'm going to crack your coconut. Ham, bananas, coconuts. You're making me hungry, technical issues. I've got to go, but you haven't heard the last of me. Stay tuned. My fox vengeance will be terrible. Yeah. So are your fox puns. Do I have to go back to Julie Morgan to hand this in? I do. Okay. Ordinarily I'd do a bunch of them together and just kind of do a circuit of the city, but because I'm limited for time, I'm just going to focus on the one that I talked about. That's leading story level heroism. Technical issues. Here's hoping we find and thwart Foxbat's next scheme for mass mayhem as successfully. Fox Battle of the Network Stars. I hate to say it, technical issues, but I think we've been distracted. Foxbat's comic book caper just set the stage for a larger scheme to expand his fanbase and show the entire world the awesomeness and greatness which is Foxbat. She's buying into this an awful lot for someone who's supposed to be impartial. I just got a call from a co-worker who's hidden in the station. Foxbat has taken over transmissions and is broadcasting his own impromptu reality show in WCOC television station. This seems like the perfect opportunity to bring Foxbat to justice, which may very well mean it's a trap. Foxbat is unstable and unpredictable, and he should never be underestimated. Proceed with caution, technical issues, and don't be surprised if he tries to make a fool out of you. I'm not sure how much of this is deliberate versus just kind of bad writing. I mean, the whole theme of the game, and certainly of Foxbat's missions, is that he is a sort of combination of Adam West Batman style hammy villain with which age of comic books is it? It's probably not Golden Age. It might be Silver Age comics that are super hammy and campy and goofy. I can never remember the strict definition and delineation of what the difference is. Anyway. So, the moment I go, I think through here, but certainly into this area, the next cutscene is going to play, and as such, I kind of want to avoid this patrol. So there we go. That should give me enough time.
Interrupt my newscast. I'm Rob Mahogany, Millennium City's most beloved newscaster.
Sorry, pal. You've just been preempted by the Foxbat Show, coming to you live and in thrilling Foxovision.
You can't do this. Do you know who I am? I have a mansion filled with fancy books and rich Corinthian leather. I'm kind of important, darn it.
Nobody is more important than Foxbat. And after I take down a few superheroes on live TV, I'll have the ratings to prove it.
I don't know what Foxovision is supposed to be. Like, there were gimmicky something-o-vision like technologies in the 50s and 60s and a little bit later, I think, but I don't know what Foxovision, if anything, is supposed to actually be. These two are empty. Okay. So the next person we meet is in here. And this is Rock Landman. Hey, you're not Rob, but I think we need your help right now. Just as I finished the weather and walked up here, this guy in a crazy suit busted through the front door and took over. I can tell you one thing, I love lamps, but I sure don't love this. If I had my trident, this situation would be completely under control. Yep. And then he legs it. Next one's in here. And this is Victoria Crownstone. All I wanted was to be a network anchorwoman, technical issues, not trapped in here like this. I'm a professional, technical issues, and was doing my job until these things showed up out of the blue. Even Rob didn't treat me this badly after the bad hair comment. Get me out of here so I can give Millennium City the news it needs. Yep. Interesting that they don't care that their hostages are just leaving directly in front of them. Yeah, rock landing was brick. And that would have been, I think, Victoria. It's been a long time since I've watched Anchorman. And to be honest, I only watched it the once and didn't really enjoy it very much. I kind of have come to enjoy the fact that it exists more since then, because it's eminently quotable, and there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of excellent reaction gifs and just great jokes in it. But as a complete unit, I didn't think it was terribly good at the time when I watched it. Perhaps I should have watched it with a bunch of friends instead of on my own, but I don't know. And I really don't think that there was any need for Anchorman 2. Ryan Santana. I was trying to edit my piece on that panda over at the zoo when this foxback guy came in and took over. I've tried everything to help Rob, even using my special cologne that is made with real bits of panther to get rid of these guys, and nothing is working. The bottle said it works 60% of the time, every time. I guess they were totally wrong this time. There's one last dude to rescue. And then we will fight Foxbat. Chapman Kind. Catchphrase this. I just got done with my catchphrase, Slammy, when this guy in a freak suit came in and took over. Listen, I'm all about having fun. You know, setting people's houses on fire, getting pantsless at parties, the usual normal guy fun stuff. I can tell you, hands down, this is not fun. Please, get rid of this freak show Foxbat so I can get back to you being with my dream and having fun. Yep. I think by far the most references are John Carpenter references, at least by density. I mean, it'll be a little while before we see the next reference to a John Carpenter film, besides Big Trouble in Little China, but it is there. So Foxbat seems like a joke villain, generally is, but some of his specialist attacks, like that, and like the bubblegum attack, which if I weren't blocking would have...
Would you describe yourself as an obsessive Foxbat fan or a dedicated stalker?
That was 12 tons. I'm not quite sure where that was supposed to have come from, or how a 12-ton ball of concrete counts as a ping pong ball. But...
Wait. I lost my place. Is this scene 23 or 42?
Oh, that was an exploding ping pong ball. A gas ping pong ball.
I'm the villain, right? Woohoo! That was a heck of a shot. Can we get an instant replay?
So that bubblegum shot would have been irritating were I not blocking, because it would have completely sealed up my character and left me sitting still for another 12-ton ball of concrete to fall on me. Rob Mahogany. Have you seen my beautiful Victoria? I'm so scared she needs my assistance, and I am stuck here with this loser Foxbat. We just finished with the news here when this Foxbat guy comes in and takes over my station. Get me out of here so I can get to my jazz flute practice. Yeah. Interesting that we don't see Foxbat in the prison later when there's a... He's getting confused about where the exit is, isn't he? We don't see him in the prison during the prison break later. Oh well. So it's 10:05 now, and I think I'm going to leave things there. I will be streaming again on Friday, carrying on. It looks like the next things we'll have to do will be fighting the Red Banners and some Cobra Lord stuff. Oops, flying the wrong way. Good job, technical issues. I guess this is what they call your 15 minutes of fame. Footage from your fight with Foxbat has been uploaded to Super's Tube, where it's already received more than 8 million hits. A deluge of fan mail is certain to follow. Now, can I get a quote for the evening news? No. Goodbye, Julie. And goodbye, all of you. See you again on Friday, hopefully.